welcome back to the Movie Club Emporium. And this week, my goodness, we're going to talk about the new comedy, allegedly, Scary Movie. Now, I was at the ripe, perfect age for Scary Movie. When it first came out, the original one, 14, 15 years old. And I remember going, this was great. Oh, this is great. And then it's a franchise that really hits here and then just kind of immediately just dive bombs. 2, I was like, no, not really for me. 3 was interesting because it was the Zucker brothers, and they were kind of like the kings of the parody genre, but it didn't work for me. And then I was kind of done with them in the theater. Unfortunately, there were the 2 other guys who took on the slash movies, so like epic movie and disaster movie, and I saw way many more of those than I should have, including a very funny story about seeing epic movie in the theater. Which, if you would enjoy that story, then make sure you like and subscribe. We'll do here at the beginning of the video. Like and subscribe. Help us get to 100 subs. It's Nick and I's goal for the end of the year. Right now we're less than 30 away, so any help we can get from you guys, please. We would love to. We're going to do something special, maybe like a special live hangout with you guys. Maybe we'll watch along. We're not sure yet, but something to celebrate us getting to 100 subs. So make sure you like, subscribing, helping us push the videos to get that done. Tell your friends. Tell your mom. Say, Mom, would you be curious what a 40-year-old man thinks about the new Scary Movie? And she'd be like, I'm sure, dear. I'm sure he'd love to know what he thinks about the newest iteration of this, again, alleged comedy. So, roughly, about 10 years ago, almost a few months shy of the date, back when this was just a wee little page on a Facebook, we had a series of videos we did called The Binge, which is where I would sit down and watch a franchise, start to finish, in one day. It was a stupid idea that went off the rails very quickly, yet somehow led to almost 40 videos. They're somewhere on Facebook. They're on our page on Facebook. Maybe if I can gather all those, I can put them up somewhere. Because they were fun. Some of them were. However, very early on, I decided to do all 5 at the time Scary Movies. So I'm going to sit down and watch Scary Movie 1 through 5 in one day in one sitting. And again, I learned what I told you, is that it's a very steep fall off in chuckles between Scary Movie 1 and the 5th one. So imagine my surprise where they announced they're doing a Scary Movie 6. Not only that, the Wayans brothers are back. We're getting the old cast back together. I fell in love with Anna Faris on the first Scary Movie. So happy to see her doing stuff again. I know she was on a TV show forever, but I didn't watch a lot of moms in the show. It somehow seems, I can't tell if that's more or less creepy to phrase it that way. But I loved her as Cindy. Regina Hall, of course, is fantastic. So I was very curious. Also, this is a very different time than the early 2000s, and so I would be curious to see what they would pushed the envelope with, because there's a lot of things in that first movie that very much pushed envelopes that have firmly been closed in 2026. So I was very curious. I went in hoping, like, maybe it'll be fun, it'll be fun to see these characters. See the Wayans brothers take another crack at their creation. And I gotta tell you, this did the worst thing that any movie of this type can do. And that is be unfocused and unfunny. I gotta tell you, I watched this. Full disclosure, I watched this as a double feature. I watched Masters of the Universe, and then this. Masters of the Universe is almost 2.5 hours long. This movie barely cracks 90 minutes, and yet I checked my phone at least 4 times to see how much time was left in this. In fact, there's a moment in the third act where a character says, "Welcome to the third act." And I immediately went, "Oh, thank God, we're almost done." And it's not that it's like, ooh, too gross for this new, woke American. It's not. What's funny is actually it feels more tame than some of the lesser PG-13 ones, with just the profanity. But here's to me why Scary Movie 1 works and this one doesn't. And it's why the other ones didn't work as well. Scary Movie 1 takes Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. 2 big teen slasher movies at the time. And that's our foundation. Now, little jokes will pop in. There's a Usual Suspects joke here. There's a little joke from something or other here. But the main driving focus is Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. In this movie, I guess you could say the base movie is Scream 5 with a big dollop of every other horror movie in the last 10 years in name only. There's a little bit from Halloween 2018. There's 2 random scenes completely out of context and that happened for no other reason other than to reference Sinners. There's a Long Legs parody with the character, the little handed character. That's not the scene that's in the trailer. Isn't in the movie. It's just him standing at the bus stop, and the police. That scene of Nicolas Cage as Long Legs standing at the bus stop, and the police come from either side to arrest him. It's that, but then they beat up the young black man who's standing there next to him, and that's the joke. And he's just standing there, and he's like, "Remember the little hand? It's here." It's the character. They do the thing of bringing back. I can't remember the character's name in Scary Movie. It's the Billy Loomis character. He's in when they bring that actor back for a smile joke, but then don't use him as the character you expect them to use him as, based because we're doing Scream 5. We have the Jenna Ortega character from Scream 5. She's Tuesday because Jenna Ortega plays Wednesday, and she's not in the movie. And honestly, the Wayans aren't in it that much either. There's a scene where they bring back Officer Doofy so that we can get a 10-minute COVID joke in 2026. Sherry O'Terry's back because they're doing a substance joke, but they can't call it the substance, so they call it the stuff. But I'm a horror fan, so when I think of stuff, I think of like, ice cream that eats you, and not the substance. There's a scene they do the Get Out parody, which leads into a demon, K-pop demon hunter animated segment, because I'm sure the people who went to the theater to watch Scary Movie 6 were really big fans of K-pop demon hunter. There's so much. It's like the worst aspects of a Family Guy episode, because we're just cutting to all these other horror movies that stop the story dead to be like, hey, it follows. Anyway, back to the story. But also making like unfunny jokes. Like I can't even think of one now that is even remotely funny. Like there's a scene where they have Cindy dressed up like Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween 2018 until the end, where for no reason, no explanation, she has black hair again. She's dressed like John Wick. They make a ballerina joke. Then they have a John Wick style action sequence where she's shooting a bunch of Ghostface. And then she runs out of bullets, and so she finishes fighting off all the Ghostface with giant dildos. Now, if that sounds like the comedy event of the summer to you, it wasn't for me, because I was just like, what are we doing? Even the least of those OG 5 scary movies would have a moment where I would go, you know what, that you got me. You got me one. You got me. And this movie didn't. It was an hour and a half of silence. A silent room in a comedy. Honestly, the only thing that came close to almost making me break a smile and not just wishing for the credits was the fact that in the first act, there's a butt plug joke. And then in the third act, that joke pays off. And to myself, I went, Chekhov's butt plug. I almost made myself laugh, not the movie. It was just mind blowing that so many funny people, you finally get these characters back, and you make one of the unfunniest movies I've seen in a long time. In a long time. It was just, again, I was just like taking down the minutes. And I'm somebody, I love great bad movies. But honestly, the worst thing you could ever be as a movie is a bad comedy, an unfunny comedy. And that's what this is. Again, because it's so unfocused, it doesn't know who the audience is for. And I wasn't expecting to go in there and to get like a bunch of crazy, oh my god, I can't believe they did it jokes. Like the most basic of jokes would have been fine. The final joke in the movie is them walking, the two Wayans brothers, Regina Hall and Anna Faris, are walking away in slow motion from a giant house explosion. because and then they mention how cool it looks, and then the camera goes behind them, and you see that the back of their clothes have been burned off in the fire, so their butts are out. And that's the last joke of the movie. Their butts. Because butts are funny. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a comedy snob. I love... See, this time I thought about it before I said it. I love a good butt joke. But, like, that's your big stinger? More like a stinker, you know what I mean? But see, even that's funnier than anything that's happened in that hour and a half movie. This movie sucks so bad. And I'm so upset because, man, like, this isn't like a cherished franchise. I was just happy to see, hey, you know, last year's Naked Gun, that remake of the Naked Gun came out, and I love the Naked Gun movies. I hold that trilogy very dear when it comes to this type of film. And so that movie had big shoes to fill for me. And I thought it overachieved. I thought it was such a fun ride back through that style of movie. And so I was like, oh my God, they're the OGs of Scary Movie are back. Here we go. And no, just a giant dud. I will say two positives. I have two positives for this movie. One, the actor who they cast to play Anna Faris's daughter, who's like a mixture of the Judy Greer character from 2018 and the Melissa Barrera character from Scream 5 and 6. Does a really great Anna Faris without it being just like a Saturday Night Live impersonation of Anna Faris. A lot of great physical mannerisms that Anna Faris does. She did very well to where you would believe that that was her daughter. And the second thing, of the only two good things I'll say about this movie, is that when the motivations behind the Ghostface murders is revealed in the epic murder monologue, it makes more sense than that same scene in Scream 7. So, chalk that one up to the Wayans. Again, I could not tell you how, this isn't a movie like I had any hope for. I was just like, hey, maybe we'll have a couple of chuckles. And nope, not even that. So don't waste your time. I will not be talking about this movie again, I guarantee you, until February, when Nick and I do our best and worst of list. And then the question will be, what beats Scary Movie 6? And saying that out loud makes me want to cry, not laugh, because what could possibly beat Scary Movie 6? God, I shudder to think. But next week is a brand new week. The plan is to see our second outing in this DC universe, a movie that I'm excited about, despite the fact that TV's Dean Cain doesn't think the actress is pretty. What the fuck are we... Anyway, we're going to see Supergirl because I'm super pumped for that. I loved Last Man of Superman, the new Superman, and so I'm super pumped for the Supergirl movie. It looks like a lot of fun. So next week we will be talking about that and not about what the TV Superman thinks about anybody or anything ever again, because whatever. That's how riled up and angry I am about this stupid scary movie. Anyway, next week we'll be talking about Supergirl. Hopefully I will have calmed down by then. and not be so fiery. Depends. We'll see. But until then, once I've gotten myself I've pulled the reins back on my insane ire. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.